Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the New to Wrestling podcast. This week, we watched the October 6th, 1997 edition of Raw is War, and the match card is as follows. In our opening contest, we had the Headbangers taking on the Godwins in a Lumberjack match. The returning Mero takes on Miguel Perez. The British Bulldog takes on Rocky Maivia. Owen Hart takes on Road Warrior Hawk for the Intercontinental Championship. There is supposed to be a tag team match between the Hardy Boys and the Truth Commission. More on that later. And in our main event, it is Triple H with Chyna taking on Bret the Hitman Hart.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. If you are new here, you're in luck. This is Kelsey. She is also new here. And if you are rewatching like me, well, you're in luck also because I am Xavier.
Yes.
And I'm not
You're in luck because I'm Xavier.
No, literally
and
didn't
period.
finish the thought.
I love it.
No, yeah.
Happy New Year.
Oh my gosh. Right. Happy New Year, everybody. If you were listening
Happy New Year, y'all.
It is the first day, I think. No. What year is it?
Where are we? Anybody know? Yeah, it is.
It's early January when you're listening to this. Welcome. We have survived another year. Who knows if we'll survive another? So, let's ride it while we can, guys?
Let's hold hands and ride this train straight to hell, girl. Can't
Amen. Speaking of which, this whole episode was very that energy.
My God.
This is the fallout of Bad Blood. Bad Blood being the first ever Hell in a Cell match, as well as the debut of Kane. So yes, we've been waiting for quite a long time for that one. We ended the year with that. And we're starting with the fallout, the craziness, the where do we go from here? This was not a wrestling heavy show. This was very much we need plot. We need
new stories. Yes. While you're bringing up Kane, one, I want to say couldn't have planned that better. That we ended the year with
the
that
debut.
Insane. Literally insane. Couldn't have planned that. Also, speaking of Kane, so my shirt, I'm wearing an Undertaker shirt, which was made by Darksport. Fierce. They did an incredible collaboration with Undertaker. So Fierce. Xavier got a shirt also, but I have to mail it to him. But I would love it because I was looking at this, the lightning detail, so incredible. I want them to do a Kane collab and then do the flames.
That would be
because if I had both of those, y'all would be sick of me.
Oops, please.
Sick of me.
And
I think that would be really cool.
Both times. You know what I mean? Because no matter
and I love a multifunctional outfit.
Yeah. No matter what shirt you're wearing, it's correct.
It matches.
So, I love that.
Darksport, I know you watch. I know you're huge fans.
Right, obviously.
But but that would be fierce. I would love that. That would be really cool because this is awesome.
Love to see it. All right, guys. So this one starts off on a little bit of a somber note. We get the 10 bell salute, which is tradition when a wrestler or, somebody in the wrestling family passes away. The entire locker room comes out. They have a moment of silence and they ring the 10 bells for Brian Pillman.
This is my first one.
I'm still standing by the Vince is either really uncomfortable with having to do all of this, or is really not about having to do all of this. And I can't tell which it is.
And either way, it's disgusting.
Correct.
Him, I mean, not the situation. But
no, obviously. Yeah, it's just I don't know. It just feels very he's going through the motion because he feels like he has to, and not because I'm not saying you need to be reclamped with fucking emotion, but like just a little bit of something. It just feels so formal and like
It
cold.
feels it feels like AI doing emotion,
Right, right. It just
or
feels very
like a
like,
Terminator
yeah,
trying, like when literally when like in Terminator 2 when like Arnold Schwarzenegger is like trying to understand like tears.
yeah.
And he's like, what
It's
is this?
very, very,
It's
very
giving
weird.
that.
Hmm.
I and we'll get into it because there's like a really insane moment with later. But yeah, there's something like I don't want to use the word sinister because it feels a little heavy-handed,
Right.
but there's something really weird
It's
about
really
Vince.
off-putting about the way he approaches
Yes.
this. Like,
Yes. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll get into it, but this was my first 10 bell salute. I've never seen this before.
mhm.
Really interesting. Not interesting in like that somebody died. I just mean like it's what a I think the concept of it is very sweet actually, like to do
Hmm.
the 10 bell salute,
Right.
but
Yeah, so
very
unfortunately
weird.
this was your first experience with that. Um,
It's like you see Vince's true face and it I don't want to see that ever.
no, no, not
No.
not now, not ever. Um, because who do you become when you look evil in the eye is really it's really
And
a
I've stared
question.
down the barrel of that gun before, and I don't want to play Russian roulette with that again.
Right,
So,
exactly. But let's kick it in. Let's get into the show, the fallout
mm-hmm.
of it all. So the show starts out with a little bit of DX, or a lot of bit of DX is kind of probably a more accurate description. Of course, they make their way, they're gyrating, they're dancing, they're having a grand old time. China looks like $1 million in that one piece, or I guess it's like two piece, but it's like a cutout like bodysuit situation. Love that.
Fierce
She did
love.
like a little half up, half down do. Very
She
cute.
has gorgeous hair.
Hmm.
Gorgeous hair. And honestly, I think I would assume it's her real hair.
I think so,
Because
yeah.
I was like, could be a wig, but I think it's her real hair. And she has gorgeous, beautiful, raven black, thick hair.
Yep.
Stunning.
Love to see it. So Michael Cole has the unfortunate honor of interviewing Degeneration X. And basically he tries so hard, God bless him. He's like, so
Sweetie.
like last night, he's like at the whatever, whatever, you were in quite possibly one of the best matches ever in the WWF. What are your thoughts? And their
Sweetie.
thoughts are to give Michael Cole a wedgie, like an atomic wedgie. Like they had that boy jumping.
Girl.
Um, yeah. Poor
A
guy.
wedgie? I said a wedgie from my coworkers?
Right.
Oh no. You want to
No.
talk about workplace harassment? You gave me a wedgie live on the air?
Mm-hmm.
That's a no from me.
No,
That's
yeah.
crazy. Wedgies, that's tomfoolery, and I do not mess with tomfoolery. I don't like that.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
like that.
It's really funny because there's like a later, who knows what documentary or this is, but Michael Cole was asked about like Shawn Michaels like in that time, and it just cuts to him and he just like stares at the camera like a fourth wall break. He goes, he was a dick. And you're like, he's like, back then he was a dick. And you're
He
like, oh,
was a dick. I mean, that is the common consensus. I
right.
mean,
And he'll
like
tell you.
that's,
It's not like it's
and he'll
like,
say it.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
It's not like he rebukes it. Like he's like, no, I was definitely a dick. But what was it? He like found Jesus and he's nice now or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. The he like ends up leaving the WWF because of all the back injuries. They try and keep him around to do like, commissioner things or whatever, blah 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 blah.
Mm.
But because he's so heavily on the drugs, it becomes like a problem. Like he can't just like show up
Oh.
to work and like be presentable. So eventually he gets like canned and sent home. And then he has a son. And apparently there's like he has this like moment where he like passes out like from a soma induced whatever, while his son's like climbing on him, and is like his wife like comes home and is like, oh, like daddy's sleeping. And Shawn, like, he talks about it later. He's like, it became like really apparent to me that like I could really mess him up. And like that's not anything he ever asked for. So then he like pretty much from there quit like cold turkey and didn't do. Yeah. So there's that. And then
Oh.
during that time, he also, his wife was generally religious. But they talk about it where she was like, I never wanted to like make him do anything because I thought
Mm-hmm.
it would have the opposite like effect. But when he was going
Mm.
through all of that, like he kind of turned
Found his
to
own
that.
way there.
So yeah.
Okay.
So
And I'm not
yeah.
judging anybody who does that. I'm just saying I was just wondering if that was
Yeah,
the
that was
pipeline.
that's the general trajectory, and then he comes back in
Wow.
2002 and is has a killer like end to his career that he didn't get to do before. So
Oh, that's
yeah,
so
yeah,
sweet.
yeah. But in this era, asshole. Anyway, moving on.
But where we're at right now, piece of garbage. Carry
Yeah,
on.
big old Doogie stain. No, so he goes on to like describe the match with the Undertaker. He's like, "Oh, they tried to put an end to old HBK, but look who's still here." He's like, "Look who's here, look who's not," and you're like, "Oh, here we go." And then he goes on. He's like, I've gone like ascended to a new level. I am no longer just a superstar of the WWF. I am an icon." And he's like, "And
I
no,
mean,
and it, not no."
not
But
no.
he also like he goes, um to just be like everybody likes to throw around that like icon like word, but I am in a class of like and to myself. And you're like, all right, go off.
He
And
kind
then
of is
no,
though.
fully. And then Triple H like grabs the mic and we get this like classic like sound bite that ends up getting used frequently when they're talking about DX or like when down the line when Hunter and Shawn feud. Um it's like, who's the man? And it's like, Shawn's like, me. He's like, who's the showstopper? Me. He's like, who's the main event? Me. And it's just like this whole like it's just something that comes up like frequently. So then they go to play this footage from Bad Blood because Shawn's like, look, I'll show you exactly how good I am. Like, look at this. And then we're like waiting around because it's live TV, so we're waiting for the production truck to like give us what he asked for. We're like, okay, like what's
Mm.
happening? And then all of a sudden, the curtain call incident from 1996 involving Razor Ramon, Diesel, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H gets played over the Titantron, and they just start like wailing on Vince on like they're just like, oh, like what's the matter, Vin? Like still sensitive? Like still too soon? Like you don't what happened? Like
That is crazy.
it's so
That
funny.
is crazy.
So funny. And he goes, "What is your dad rolling in his grave?" Because those are the things that they were told like after they went out and like did that like they killed the business, like kayfabe is dead and like blah blah blah. Like it was a whole thing. And people still point to that moment and be like, "Oh, like that's the moment like that changed like the way fans look at wrestling."
Oh
Um
yeah,
and
because
like
even Undertaker still talks about it,
right. And
and
yeah,
he's still pissed about it.
right. Right.
And so
Um
is Bret Hart. I mean,
no,
they both.
well, Bret Hart
Well,
with I'll take an asterisk to Bret Hart because I love him, I really do, but he is a bitter man. So
I was gonna say he is bitter boots,
yeah,
and I
so
sometimes
I
I
love
can't
it.
judge a bitter
No,
baby. Yes,
no.
I'm
Sometimes
like
I
I
love it, I really
respect the
do.
game.
But
Yeah,
like
I do.
I sometimes you do have to take it with a grain of salt because that man is bitter.
Bitter,
So
honey. That is I did not expect that at all. I mean showing the curtain call, being like, "Oh yes, look how good I am," and then being like, "Oh yeah, by the way,
right,
remember this? I murdered quote unquote wrestling. I murdered the idea, the business, the whatever. Well, guess who's still here, honey? Guess who's still main eventing?
right.
Guess
Love
who's
that.
still first ever in the Iron match, first ever in the ladder match, first ever in the
Right.
Hell in a Cell?"
He said,
I
me.
don't he said as long as your credit can vouch, a dog couldn't catch me.
No,
Like
honestly,
crazy. It's one of my favorite
honestly.
lines. That's from Oh my God, I like the way you work it. No
No
diggity. Duh.
diggity.
As long as my credit can vouch, a dog couldn't catch me straight up.
So crazy.
And that's Shawn Michaels.
So
And that's the
crazy.
Generation X. I
In a
mean, that is
nutshell, yeah.
so. They're like, okay, and you didn't fire me after that.
Good
So
luck. Yeah.
what? So
So
what
funny. And they're
now?
literally just like, "Oh, what's the matter? Like, oh, did we make an ass out of you?" He's like, "You were an ass long before we made an ass out of you."
That was
That
crazy.
was
You were an ass long before I made an ass out of you.
love that. And I was like, "Oh, love to see it." And of course, this prompts the I guess interjection from the Hart Foundation because Shawn Michaels is the number one contender to Bret Hart's WWF Championship, and of course it's I don't know, it's a Bret Hart promo. It's like, look at your hero. Like, look at him. He calls him a disgrace to pro wrestling, the lowest form of scum, which I just find hilarious because Shawn and um Triple H are so unserious, like so unserious the
They're
entire
going,
time. Oh, 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 scum. Oh, like so
oh,
stupid. So
like
stupid.
clowns. Two
Look,
clowns at the circus.
ugh, so ridiculous. He calls them a degenerate, which again, put that in the note. I believe next week is the official like naming, like
Degenerate.
where yeah, well, they say it in
The
like a
naming
promo.
ceremony.
Uh, sure. They say it in a promo finally. And then he takes it off roading from wrestling promo to just straight homophobia. He said, "Rrr," like real quick turn, and then he's like talking about like what the H's in their names stand for, and he's like you're a homo, he's a homo, and then he at one point calls China a man, um,
Oh yeah,
just
she he
for his
says you and
trouble.
those to Shawn Michaels, like you and those two men in the ring with you, and it was Triple H and China. And I
Yeah,
was like, oh,
so
how
crazy.
dare you,
And
hag.
then he said, you may have barebacked your way like to the top, but I make more money than you than you could ever like dream of or whatever. And then he goes on. This is a good like end to the promo. He's like, and he takes the titles like, this is what it's all about. Actually, he's like, you will never be the showstopper until you take this from me. Even though he has already. Um, um,
It's not like he's never been the champion, but okay.
and literally beat you for it, but sure. Um, mm.
Okay.
But
Details,
then
details.
at one point he calls Diesel and Razor like his boyfriends, their boyfriends, and how he ran them out of the company. Um, so absurd. And then they make their way to the back because they called everybody gay and left. Um, it's just like middle school.
Everyone's a gay man in the ring, including
Uh,
China.
right. And you're like, all right, go off.
Okay.
Sure. And then Shawn Michaels, of course, being in the ring alone or like with a mic, is not going to not say anything.
Take that
He
quietly,
goes
yeah.
he goes immediately for Bret Hart. He's like, I have two words for you, suck it. And then moves on. And he's like, this business needs Shawn Michaels. That's why I'm here. And then he goes on to say, like, Bret, you are a zero, my hero. And he's like, the only way that you could main event is by working with me. Otherwise, you are just a paper champion and and a support like cast
Like
to the Shawn Michaels show, essentially.
calling Bret Hart a chorus girl is crazy. It's
Crazy,
like
crazy.
you're a chorus girl number three,
No, actually,
unless I
unnamed,
bring you up.
uncredited,
Oh, and
non-speaking role is how he would like it.
and I said paper champion, first of all, band name. Second, like that paper champion, ow. And I
Ow.
love because Bret Hart says, like, I make more money than you per match. Like I get paid more to do a match. And Sean's like, maybe that's true. When his little comeback is like, maybe that's true. But I wrestle more than you. I'm in every event, and where are you? You're
No,
not getting into a
he
match
said he wrestles
unless
less than Shawn, like or less than Bret.
yes.
He's like you're working your little tail off. He's like I show up at the end to make the big bucks. I don't know what you're talking about. That
Oh,
he's like that's
which
not the
is
flex you think it
insane.
is. Um Crazy, crazy.
And saying you only main event when I'm with you is one kind of true. Or at least it has been
It
like
has
for the
been true.
last little minute.
Especially this
Because
title
even like
run, he has not been like the main event of anything, really, which is
nothing. And
crazy.
I mean, Bad Blood, they put him in that booty ass flag match that was
Right,
so meh for what? And yeah, I'm like, he is the champion, whatever. We talked about it in the Bad Blood
right.
episode, whatever. But I just, and I maybe I'm reading too much into it because that's my favorite hobby, but I just feel like this last championship run of Bret Hart is almost like they really, it feels like he's getting embarrassed at every turn. Like not intentionally, maybe. Again, it's like I know too much. I love
Well,
to
he's
read into
also
things,
like
but it's
he's
like
the bad guy, which is
he's
typically
the
like
bad guy.
what happens. But
Yeah.
there are definitely like the backstage tension stuff is like making its way like out onto the
Out.
screen.
Oh yeah.
Because the shit they're saying to each other is like is like you're getting real borderline like that's not okay. Or
God.
for
Never forget
television.
sunny days. Never forget
Right.
enjoying sunny days. That was crazy
And
town.
there's a
Never
lot of
forget.
resentment building, I feel like, on the part of between Bret and Vince because Bret feels like Vince isn't doing enough about it, about Shawn. You know what I mean? And like I can
And
see that also being like a valid argument. Um
yes. It's like
because,
when Brett said that thing, he goes, is anyone going to do anything about Stone Cold just doing whatever the hell he wants at any time? Like, am I crazy? And we were like, he's kind of got a point. Like,
right, right. I know we're
he
eating it
does,
up, but like not no. Like
yeah, like again, I mean, it's just these were both really, really good. I mean, we didn't need the
trip down.
aggressive U-turn into homophobia lane,
Right.
but the chirping before wasn't bad.
No, yeah,
The
the
title
chirping
the
before and
title about
after
this is what
was
all.
really yeah. I was with it.
We never need to go down that road.
Yeah, but again, I like yes, I agree with you, but again, it's like 1997 and they did not care. So like
Yeah, and also Triple H, like his rebuttal to being saying that the H in Triple H is for homo was like, okay.
he's like I'm not
He just like
gay.
felt that he said, I'm not a queer. And it's like, first of all, a queer, crazy.
Right.
But also it's like, you you didn't need to say anything.
Right,
Like
right. It's it was
you
it's almost more damning, like just
yes.
like
To grab the mic from Shawn and be like, no, 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 no,
not
not me.
me. Right. Girl.
Okay,
It's
sure.
okay. It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. It's
Live your life. All right, but that takes us into our opening contest, which is the Headbangers taking on the Godwins. The Godwins are the new WWF Tag Team Champions as of Bad Blood. So this is kind of like a rematch, kind of not. It is non-title. This is a Lumberjack match, which is the first one that we have seen on the show. For those of you who
so
are new
fun.
here, like Kelsey was like Lumberjack match. It is when the ring is surrounded by other wrestlers, and their sole responsibility is to take the wrestlers when they get thrown out of the ring and throw them back into the ring as to not give anybody a respite. Is supposed to make it hard hitting the whole time. Nobody gets a break.
Interesting.
So
It's funny to see them all out there. And do they call like why do they call it lumberjacks? Because they're just standing out there and it's like
I don't
they're
know.
trees. Like I
I don't know.
don't.
It makes me feel like a lumberjack song. Like I don't know where that comes from, but I don't know. Like I got to do some
Yeah.
research. Not gonna lie. If you know and want to educate us, by all means.
Yeah, please. I mean, I just
Um,
think the concept is so funny. Like seeing everybody out there, like it was like the Nation, like
like
Legion of
LOD,
Doom, the
the
Truth
truth.
Commission,
Yeah,
like
the whole gang was
and
out there.
yeah, and like Mosh, was it Mosh that immediately like crowd surfs the
Yeah,
whole
yeah. Mosh crowd surfs the lumberjacks. It's so good.
love,
Mm.
love. Crowd surfs the Lumberjacks song name.
I'm so biased. Maybe it's like the Jersey thing, or maybe it's just because I want to bang Mosh. But like Jesus, obsessed.
He is like so your type, which
I
is really
know. No,
funny.
100%. It's disgusting. Um, love to see it. This match was fun. It's it's we got people tossed of the ring. Some people getting beat up. The Truth Commission was trying to get their licks in.
I
Like,
would.
yeah, but technically it's not what they're supposed to do. But they're like,
No, of course
okay, go to
not.
town. At one point the Godwins try and use the bucket on one of the headbangers. LOD takes great offense to that. They jump in the ring because they've got mad history going on. And then that proceeds to instigate all of the Lumberjacks just entering the like all of the Lumberjacks commenced.
Every last one.
Yeah, no, fully. And so they were all brawling in there, and I thought they were just gonna throw out the match after that. I thought it was like, okay, here we go. Like
Yep,
this isn't
me
working
too.
no more. So, but no, just as quickly as they came, they scattered. It was like taking like a flame to like a pile of ants. You're like,
Yeah, they first it was like the light to attract the moths, and then it was like they turned out the light and they all like
oh,
dispersed again.
fully just went to the
It
next
was
one.
so funny.
So crazy. But in the fray of it all, getting all of the Lumberjacks like out of the ring, at one point Mosh rolls up one of the Godwins for a quick pin, picks up the victory, and now the Headbangers have a victory over the tag team champions. So, hey, they're not done with you just
Dang.
yet.
No, we
Um,
gonna fight.
no, fully. And I thought, to me, it's like it seems like they want to give the titles to LOD, but they couldn't go from Headbangers to LOD because they're both
Mm,
like fan favorites. So I feel like they went Headbangers, Godwins, LOD. We'll see how that goes, how that shapes out.
that
But I
makes a
feel
lot
like
more
that's
sense.
kind of what I feel like is happening. But I don't know
Okay,
because the
that makes
Headbangers
sense.
just picked up a win. So
I don't know what's happening in the tag team arena. I'm really not sure. But it's like I don't know. I wish that like we had said that the Headbangers run was longer. It's weird for me that the Godwins suddenly acquire Uncle Cletus and suddenly they're out here tag team champions once again. I don't know what's happening, but I guess we'll find out.
no, yeah, very much, very much we'll find out because there's still like nine tag teams like that were surrounding the ring that like we haven't seen in, like a hot minute. Like the new Blackjacks.
Swear.
Hello,
Oh yeah.
where have you been?
Where
The
have they
Sultan was out there.
been?
Why? I don't know. It
He was just
just
like,
he was just there. Like
I love when they're all just standing out there and like they're obviously they're themselves like as wrestlers, but also they're just like, hey, so what's up? Like, I don't know. I just think the concept is so silly, them all
I know,
standing out there.
I love it. But we'll see what happens next between this or like if we get any kind of like actual division kind of form up, that would be
Mm,
real nice.
mm-hmm.
Because it's always just like it always feels random whoever is the number one contender because I'm just like, okay, sure. Like,
Sure. I know. I
um
can't wait till we have like a little, I feel like we need a little structure or
something.
something to the tag
Um
team area.
so next we get a little backstage segment with Miguel of the Boricuas. He's basically just like, I'm gonna beat up Marc Mero in 2 minutes, and then he switches to Spanish. And he's essentially the gist of it all. For those of you who don't speak Spanish and or didn't watch, are just like, if you think you're gonna get one over on us, think again. After we're done taking care of you, Sable's going to want to hang out with us instead. And we're like, oh, okay. I love for some reason in the WWF that like women managers are just like traded. I don't know. It's so weird. It's such a
They're like
weird.
Pokemon cards. Like if I
Yeah.
beat you in battle, I get to take your most valuable
No,
card,
yeah. It's
your
just
most
like,
valuable
okay.
Pokemon.
I was like, all right.
I
All
didn't
right.
expect this from you, Bariquas. I thought better of you.
Oh, well, you should have expected it from them. Um, just,
That's my bad.
I'm just basing this on relatives. So throwing them all under the bus. Don't care.
Oh my
Um,
God.
so listen, you objectify women, that's on you. But I'm not gonna defend you. That's crazy.
Hmm.
So we get the return of Marc Mero in this next match. And boy, oh boy, does he look different. The last time we
Woo!
saw Marc Mero, it had to have been, I mean, the last time we saw Marc Mero wrestle, it has to have been at least like 10 months. Like it's
Eh,
been a
Yeah,
while.
I was gonna
Uh,
say between 8 to 10
yeah.
months.
Uh,
Really that long?
if
Wow.
yeah, it was like a very serious knee injury, so he was out for a hot minute. Which has been real sad because that means we've seen significantly less Sable.
Really
Um,
upsetting to
really
me and my
upsetting.
homegirls.
No, for real. But he got a new haircut. He looks good. He's look
Girl, he looks
Yeah,
he
he
looks
buzzed it. He
good,
went from that like
honey.
1980s uh like poofy mullet thing into just like a he dragged his own ass into the 90s. He said, "Let's go."
Mm,
Buzzed his hair, thick ass mustache, is really leaning into the his boxing background. He is a Golden Gloves boxer. Um
mm.
so
He's getting back to his roots and
right.
his hair roots and his boxing roots. He's
Absolutely.
going right back to the root.
So
God, he
good.
looks
I
good.
He looked great. I thought it was he I don't know if you noticed, it's a very different style from him,
Yes,
wrestling
yes,
wise, because he's not flip flying, flopping all over the ring anymore. He said, I
yes.
thought no, I busted my knee. We're not doing all that. Um,
And I will miss the shooting star press. It was so
as
stunning.
his finisher,
But
yeah.
yes, but
But the new
this
finisher is pretty good.
fierce
Yeah,
love. I mean, and I just think now his aesthetic matches Sable's, and not that that's always the goal, but when it comes to Sable, it should be.
right.
But I just like the all like she's wearing the all black cat suit with the like the chains, and she's
And
got
the
her
whip,
whip, and then he
sick.
comes in with the obviously like the satin boxing hood, the satin boxing shorts, like oh, the buzz cut,
Hmm.
girl, he looked amazing. I actually love this, and I'm excited because I feel like I don't know what comes for Marc Mero, but I mean the boxing roots, I feel like we could like link up with Ken Shamrock. Like I don't know, there's like things here. Like there's more
Right,
things that are here.
right.
I'm just very excited for
Yes,
this.
yes, it's great. And he hits us with a new finisher, which is essentially like it's a cutter of some kind, but he starts them off in like a torture rack position where the person's like on across his shoulders, and then he throws them and turns it into a cutter. So not
Crazy.
dissimilar to like a Stone Cold Stunner or like an
That's what I was gonna
RKO.
be.
Yeah,
That's what I was gonna ask.
they're very in the same family, but it's a it looks very different on how he gets into it.
It
So
was
I thought it was
really
great. I thought it was a
amazing.
good showing for him. Glad to see him back and off the injured list because that means we
Yeah.
get table. And yeah,
Period.
being that we
And
have
the bodying.
unmatched,
Whew,
unmatched, really, really, really great.
God. And the
Um,
tan is not overdone anymore either. It's like just right. Because before, crispy.
crispy.
And that's your choice,
That's
whatever.
fine if you.
But this, I mean, he looked great. I can't
Yeah.
say it enough.
Good for him. Good for him. And then we get a crazy segment. Guys, Jim
You
Cornette
guys.
said, he said, hold my earrings, hold my baby. I'm going in.
He said, "Is this mic on? Hello?
And
Check 1, 2."
he said, the library's open. We're reading today. And he read everyone to filth. Everyone to
Filth.
filth. He goes,
Annihilated. No survivors.
he goes he goes, these are my thoughts, not necessarily that of the WWF or anybody else's, but they should be. And then goes into and just starts wailing. He's like, you have people like Arn Anderson, Ric Flair, like Mick Foley, people who like mastered their craft, really putting in the work, like getting like disrespected and like not getting the airtime that like they deserve, and like the after years and years of putting their like bodies on the line for this business. But you got people like the NWO who get all this attention, And he's like, oh, and they act like children. He's like, all they gotta do is act like themselves. A bunch of like immature, like, oh, it was so good. He's like immature, delinquent, like all this stuff, and you're like,
No
oh,
talent having. They just got to be
crazy.
themselves.
Great. And then he goes in and starts rattling them off. He goes, Kevin Nash. He's like, Kevin Nash, he has he he goes, he has six moves and no range of movement
Mobility.
and zero
Six moves
mobility.
and zero mobility.
And he's like, and after like we pushed him to like the moon, he takes his like ball and goes somewhere else. After he said he was gonna stay, by the way, which also makes him a liar. And you're like, oh,
Woo!
ooh. And then he goes, and then there's Scott Hall, who's a good wrestler, but that's about it. And you're like, oh,
Good.
good. He said good, not great. Love to see it. And then he goes on to address the 1-2-3 kid, or six, wherever you want to call him. He's six in WCW. He's a 1-2-3 kid here. He becomes X-Pac when he returns. The only reason he's employed is because his friends think it's funny when he gets drunk and throws up on himself. What? 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 And then he goes
Oh,
and talks,
oh my God.
and then he goes and addresses the big kahuna of WCW, and he's like, and Eric Bischoff, and he's not just an announcer. He's like, his name is on the credits. Look, he's in charge of this. And it's like, all of that is his doing. Somebody who likes to spend billionaires' money just so that he can have friends. He likes to surround himself with these big, buff, bearded dudes so that he can hang out with them, and hopefully some of their whatever will rub off on him to make him feel like his Johnson is bigger. And you're like, holy shits. Holy
His
shits.
Johnson.
He
His
said little PP bitch. He said that's so crazy. I
He
was
said
not
little dick mister.
no, I was not expecting this. I don't know what I was expecting from Jim Cornette, but they said go off, bitch. No rules, no rails. Go. Go. He said shoot.
Go.
Shoot. And
Shoot.
he shot. He
Point blank
shot.
range.
So crazy.
Straight to the cranium. My God.
No, like it
This
is
was
like
a clinic.
crazy.
Him standing in front of a velvet curtain and just the mic, and he just bop bop bop, but just annihilated
and so
them.
fast. He said, "Oh, I got 30 seconds." Bet. Runs through the
Bop bada
entire
bop
thing.
bada bop.
He said, you're trash. You're trash. You're trash." Oh, it
No
was so
talent.
good.
No
Oh,
talent, small penis.
I was just like, Jim Cornette said, "I'm coming to read the dolls today," and boy did he. Boy did he. I cannot say enough about this promo. If you are somebody who knows nothing about wrestling, go watch that promo. Go
Yeah,
watch it,
go right
because
now.
that is magic from start
That's
to
a shoot.
finish. That's a
Jim,
shoot, baby.
Jim, I used to hate you so bad, and I would like to formally apologize. And it started when you came in as color commentator a few weeks ago and filled in for Jerry, and I was like, "Oh, wait a minute. I miss Jim."
Right.
And then Jim read the girls, and I forgot how much I love Jim.
Right.
Because Jim reads the girls, and it's always fact, not fiction. And
No.
obviously it's an opinion. This was like a verbal op-ed piece.
No.
He was like, "This is my opinion, but you guys are going to sit here and listen to it.
No, 100. If I have to spoon feed it to you.
If I have to spoon feed it to you and I won't get up." Like, oh my God, it was so
I was
crazy.
like, I have expected like turn around to just see like all of their heads just blown off, just like smoke just
Dead.
coming out just, oh my God.
Like he said goodnight and there was blood just on the hand.
No,
Bye.
fully. He was.
And let me say this. You and I have said this about Eric Bischoff many times.
Oh.
Where we were like, he just buys his friends. He collects them all and he pays them a lot so that they have to stay near him. And it's proof when he ends up joining NWO. I'm sorry. Like, he's like, I have to be closer. I have to live inside your skin.
Like it's not
It's
enough
so
to
weird.
like it's not enough to just like be running the whole thing and like be
Producing,
making the
writing,
decisions behind
announcing.
the like behind the scenes. No, no, no. I have to make myself the on like it was so dumb because it's just like it is known that you are the boss, like in charge, and then you join this faction whose entire purpose is to be like a rival faction that is looking to supplant the company that is there. So when the boss of the company joins the rival company, then you're just like, okay, well then they've
What the
won. There is no
they want they you ruined it.
they won. There
It's
is nothing
over.
for them to chase anymore because they won. Like you
Like, hello?
so dumb.
Wait,
So
girl,
dumb.
I mean, wow, he really said he's Ted Turner's little bitch with a check who has a tiny penis
It was
and
crazy.
buys all his friends with somebody. He said he buys all his friends with someone else's money.
Right.
That is diabolical, girl. You can't even use your own money to buy your own friends.
That's
You have to use
crazy.
Big Daddy's money. That is insane.
Absolutely.
Jim, well done, Jim.
Well
Absolutely
done.
incredible.
That
And
was
he said more to come afterward. He was
I was
like,
like,
more to follow.
there's
Please do
more?
this every week.
Please. No, please do this every week. I would
Every week.
oh please run down the list. They got lots of people that need to be talked about over there.
Yeah, I
Like
want him to have a roster and a little laser pointer and just go, okay, today we're
mm-hmm.
talking
No,
about this person.
100%. I want it broken down like the Emperor's New Groove is broken down. You know what I mean? Like I want him to be
Yes.
like mid promo, like pause and be like, what I
Red
mean here
marker.
is like
What
like
I said was this. What
right.
was happening was this. Oh, yes.
Mm.
Yes, yes, yes.
But honestly,
So amazing.
read of the decade as far as I'm concerned. Uh
Beautiful.
Amazing. Cannot go on enough. Definitely check it out if you have not. October 6th, 1997.
Mm.
Rocky Maivia takes on the British Bulldog in our next match. This one's kind of short and sweet. We
Hmm.
get a she loves Davy Boy's ass sign. Love to see
With a
it.
little arrow.
And we
And
are
that's my
she.
friend. And she is we, and we are all together,
No,
girl.
100%. Because the sentiment is so true.
So
Um,
mutual, and you are safe here.
no, 100%. JR, at one point he's like trying to talk up Rocky Maivia, but he's like an intelligent young man, blah 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 blah. And then he goes, he can actually put sentences together. Not the flex you think it is, JR.
No,
I
JR.
was like, no,
No.
saying that he can like the surprise that he can
Mm.
actually put sentences together is not bolstering him the way you think it is.
And
But
when Vince McMahon has to bail you out, that's a bad day.
that's what I'm
Vince was
saying.
like, "Well, actually, everyone in the nation is incredibly intelligent and blah
Right.
blah blah."
Right.
When
Fully.
Vince McMahon is bailing you out of what you just said,
That's what I'm
girl,
saying.
you gotta
Uh
go home.
100%. And of course, both members of this match are flanked by their factions. So all of the Hart Foundation is out, all of the Nation Domination is out. Jim Ross on commentary is like, isn't it like I don't know what Sergeant Slaughter's doing, like letting all these people like come out here. And Jerry
Swear.
Vince goes like I was like, oh, I think like it's kind of like a no-win job. Like you're never gonna be like you're always gonna be the bad guy, which is like, okay, fine, but come out here and be the
Fine,
bad
but
guy. Like
then thank you. Then don't even have him there at all. If you're like, well, then he's commissioner.
right,
Commissioner. He is the law. Nobody
right,
likes the law. Like,
right,
of course, no one wants someone telling them what to do. What did you
right.
think they were gonna be like? Oh my God, this is so amazing.
Love
Like,
it. Yeah.
duh.
No, no, 100%.
Oh
And then
God.
Jerry calls Sergeant Slaughter a mental midget. So crazy. That's so crazy. We're like, all right. Um,
And normally I love an alliteration.
I know, but
That's
that one
crazy.
that was crazy. It just took me out.
Just in bad taste.
So nuts. We get a beautiful delayed suplex from the Bulldog, as he is known
Uh,
for, followed by one of his
Angel.
patented power slams, which gets him the victory.
Mm,
And so after the match, the Hart Foundation celebrating with the British Bulldog in the ring, as you do, and Farouk comes in with just like with his leather belt. He said, "Oh my God, I had flashbacks. I was like, Jesus Christ, am I getting disciplined? Like, what's happening?" He came
did
in
I miss
and just
curfew?
started swanging that thing.
Wailing on them. I was like, this was so bold. He just jumped in the ring against four men with his leather strap and said, "You will listen to this."
Uh,
Smack,
and,
smack.
and he went right after Owen, due to the events of Bad Blood, as we know.
Makes
And then he
sense.
started just making his way around. I was like, gee, like, Sergeant Slaughter,
So,
where are you?
hello.
Only then does he eventually like make his way out and start like trying to like separate all of this chaos. And I was like, you could have stopped the chaos. You could have
We didn't
just
even have to get here. It
right. You
wouldn't
could
have
have
even
just
started.
no, 100%. All for weeks and weeks and weeks. You're stopping everybody halfway up the ramp and dragging them to the back. Now, all of a sudden, they can do whatever they want again. And then you come out like after the fact, like, hey, don't do that.
Like, it makes no sense.
No, no, it does not. Um, Crazy. Uh, Next we get a interview with Stone Cold because he's got some questions to answer. Uh, Last week before Bad Blood, Vince McMahon basically left him with three options. One being he go and get a doctor's note saying that he can wrestle again, which no doctor on the face of the earth is going to give him. Two, he
Correct.
can sign a release, essentially. Um, what am I? What is the word I am thinking of?
Like a
Relinquishing all
waiver.
yeah, like waiving all responsibility from the WWF for anything that may happen to him. Um, so cool, love to see that. Or get fired is essentially the gist of that.
Right.
So first, Vince McMahon comes out and he's like, before we get to, brass tacks, why did you hit Farouk? And he's like, well, what I do is none of your damn business. And quite frankly, even if you are the owner, still none of your damn business. So if I don't want to answer your question, I'm not going to answer your question. And you're like,
I
okay,
just won't.
thanks. And you're like, damn, this feels like a Real Housewives reunion. No questions answered. Um,
It's
so, uh, so basically, Vince is like, okay, so you don't have a paper. I don't see one. So I'm assuming you didn't go to a doctor. And Steve's like, no, I did not see any doctor.
I
Thank you
have not.
very much.
He's so funny for that. No, I haven't seen any doctors at all. Why?
It's
Crazy.
so funny. And he goes week in, week out. You talk about how I'm the toughest SOB, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, what I'm not, though, is I am not dumb. I'm not just going to sign this little piece of paper because you want me to sign this little piece of paper. He's like, what I can do is you can guarantee me, Owen Hart, for the Intercontinental Championship, and then I'll sign your little paper. And
And that's
Vince,
negotiating.
and Vince goes like, "Oh yeah, like you have it, like you have my word." And Stone Cold's like, "You think I'm just gonna come out here, shake your little hand, and trust you? Please." He goes, "No, no, no, no. You go get a piece of paper. You signed that little piece of paper, and then I will sign this." He's like, "No, no, no. We are not doing no legalities on a handshake. All right. That's how
And
that's how Diesel and Scott Hall ended up somewhere else. All right. Your legalities
swear,
with a handshake. You'd think you'd learn, Vince." Like,
swear. Like, and that's also no shade. That's the Paul Heyman way, and we all know how that went.
right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
So you can get the legal paperwork out here, and I'll have my lawyers contact your lawyers, but handshake is crazy.
Crazy. And then
Even
Farouk shows
with
up.
witnesses. I don't care.
No. No. Yeah, Farouk shows up on the Titantron, and basically it's just like, oh, like you think you're tough because you like curse and this, that, the other, and then like hits us with a like back in my day I had to walk like up the hill both ways to get to
Both
school.
ways.
Yeah, you're like, okay. It's just a lot
Hmm.
of the promos from Farouk really feel like that. Like, and
Yes. Yes, they
I'm
do.
getting a little like tired of the shtick. Like, give me something else. So
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
I was like,
I
geez,
recognize your struggle, but I recognize
I
your
need a new
struggle.
plot point. Like give
Yes.
me something. Give me another promo. I'll wait. Um and then he goes on to be like, oh, like when you use the word ass, like let me tell you what that means in the context of the nation, as in your ass is mine. And you're like, oh, okay, love to see that.
I
Also,
liked that
yeah,
actually.
yeah. I was like, okay, love that. And then Stone Cold grabs the mic and he's like, "Oh, don't worry. As soon as I'm done with my little legalities over here, I'll kick all your asses. Don't you fret." It's like
Yeah,
I
don't worry your little head about it.
he's like
Don't
I'm
you lose a wink of sleep.
he's like I'm not gonna move you up the priorities list. Like let's not get crazy, but don't worry, you're on there.
You're still on the list.
No,
And I
100%.
there's one reservation ahead of you. But
No,
if you wait,
right,
we will seat
100%.
you.
No, 100%.
Crazy.
Crazy. And then so then Farouk ends up off the Titantron. Stone Cold is celebrating. He runs out of the ring, grabs the King's crown, and
Love.
punts it. Just punts it into the crowd. Love to see it.
What I loved about it so much is that he grabs it from the commentator table. And I thought he was going to punt it right there, but he decides to get into the ring for
Right.
maximum puntage. Like it's
Right.
like you will all see this.
No,
Like,
fully.
and the guy who ends up with it is so happy. Like
So
a guy gets it,
happy.
he puts it on, and he's just like,
He said, oh my
so
God.
cute.
Oh my
He said,
God.
"I got a prize."
I love that.
I hope he feels special, and I hope he still has it.
Honestly. So that is the end of that. So we'll see if Stone Cold gets his match that he's looking for. Next we get a promo from Road Warrior Hawk. It's short, sweet, to the point. Basically, he goes, Owen Hart, you're like a loogie in my throat. You're like, oh, okay. And he's like, it only takes one good to clear it. And you're like, okay.
It's so funny.
Well,
His brain, well, his brain is fascinating to me. What is going on up there?
You know in Halloween Town 2 where all the lost things like
I was,
go?
yes,
Because
I was just gonna say that. I swear to God, you
I
are
feel
so
like
real for that.
he's pulling like his promos from that guy.
Mismatched socks.
No.
He's like,
It's always
okay, I got
something
a
like
loogie,
grody. Like it's always something just like a little
a
gross.
little
Like
skeeve. Yeah,
mm.
it's never too much, but it's always a little.
No, like could definitely be found in like a boy's room, but like still just like
Oh, there's definitely an odor, and we're
right.
not sure what it is.
Right. It's just always a little
But the
gross.
washing machine can take it out. Like can take out
Right.
the
It's
funk.
not no fully. It's still like, family
It's
friendly.
not permanent
So,
damage. Yeah.
right. um next
I was literally thinking, I was like, what is that place in that movie where there's like just a bunch of lost object? And then you literally said it. I was like, oh my God, viewers. That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Oh no, that is where Hawk is getting his inspo, I swear.
And
Uh
I love that.
no, honestly. Next we get a promo from Owen Hart, and he's like, I can't wait to get singing a different tune. He's like, I can't wait to get my hands on Austin. He's like, I'm not scared of you. I'm the best. And you're like, all right.
I
And
love
then
him.
I know he's so funny. And he's like, take your best shot, son. Just like, okay. Love to see it. Um, and that takes us into the Owen Hart versus Road Warrior Hawk match for the Intercontinental Championship. Love to see it. I thought this was like pretty great for the most part. Like there wasn't too much that was like outlandish. Like the
Mm-hmm.
interferences and stuff that did happen made sense. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Hawk hits Owen with a military press slam followed by a neck breaker. Um,
Mm.
ooh, yeah, that always makes Kelsey like cringe a little bit. I think you said anything with the
Anything
neck
with the neck,
really
especially
throws you.
after Stone Cold, I anything with the neck generally, like when
Mhm.
they get tangled in the ropes, the pile drivers, neck breakers, blah blah blah, anything like that, just icky, no,
Icky, icky,
no,
no.
no.
Hawk goes to follow Owen into the corner, ends up in the ring post for his troubles. Owen hits him with an enziguri. The Godwins come out because of the involvement of the Legion of Doom in the earlier match. They feel
Right.
they cost the Godwins the win. Owen hits Hawk with a low blow while the referee isn't looking. Crazy. And as the match continues, the Godwins basically are using any opportunity to get involved. They try and hit Hawk in the back with the bucket. Doesn't really do too much at first. As soon as that happens, that sets off Animal in the back because he said, not my friend.
That's
And
my
come
friend.
no, 100% comes down. It's like, okay, we're gonna do something about that then.
Love that
And
energy.
no, fully. You can't be a tag team for that long and like not immediately just
Especially LOD. There's no
no.
way that Hawk is getting his like, his side of gravy and Animal's not coming out there.
That's
Like that's the Legion of Doom.
That's what I'm
You're
saying.
kidding.
The one and
No
the
way.
same, really.
Mm-hmm.
Two sides, same coin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Animal comes down. Of course, the Godwins cheap shot Hawk with a horseshoe. They hit Henry Godwin hits so crazy. Hawk in the head with a horseshoe, which allows Owen to pick up the victory. Much like he won the night prior to win the title, now he's just getting help from everybody. Sorry, Owen. He did it all by
Yeah.
himself. He'll tell you.
All by himself. All by
He'll
himself.
he'll tell you
All
he
by
did it
himself.
all by himself.
In his defense, though, he's never asking for help.
No,
Like it's
never.
just falling from the sky, like out of the
Yeah,
blue,
yeah.
because he's in the middle of the beef. So
Where's the beef? Right here.
where
Right.
is the beef? They say they want beef. Well, where's my burger at?
No,
I mean,
no lies.
okay.
No lies. So next we get one of the most one of the most uncomfortable
Oh,
segments I've ever had to witness in like wrestling. It is just so distasteful and
disgusting.
yeah, it's not a move. They interview Melanie Pillman not 24 hours after the passing of her husband.
No.
They they drag her out here, and it's
Mm-mm.
the not it's not just the like it's bad enough that they are having her do this at all,
Yes.
let alone the questions that are asked. It is
Period. Disturbing.
so disgusting and so disrespectful and
Yep.
like it's crazy because we he- they're t like she's asked about like so basically like explain like how your husband died is the first question generally, and she's like, well, there was a problem with his heart like we didn't know about, and there was some kind of like stress on his heart and he had a heart attack in his sleep. So it's like, oh, okay. And then Vince goes on to ask, he's like, oh, well, there's usually like a lot of like mystery surrounding when a 35-year-old like suddenly passes. So like, could you like put to bed any like rumors or whatever about like potential like drug use and blah blah? And you're like, what are you
You
doing?
filthy,
What
you
are you?
filthy motherfucker.
No, really.
That is nasty work.
That is
Nasty work.
That is crazy. Not This man is not even in the ground yet, and you're making sure that you're putting in work to make it look like if he did die of drugs, that it was all of his like doing, like, and not because he was putting his body through hell for you. Like, that's crazy. Like,
Using the widow who her husband is not even cold yet to exonerate your company from any blame is so beyond me and disturbing because also what's so crazy, and I was thinking about this, like there is no way their living room is just like that. Like they had people go to her house and stage that living room the way it was. There is no way that's what their living room looks like. Like with
No.
the pictures and like the someone went to her house shortly after he died and staged that. Like that
Right.
also disgusts me because it's the forethought and I don't like that. Like but using the grieving widow of not 24 hours to exonerate you and your nasty little company, not that I'm using that, but whatever, to exonerate you and your company
Right.
from the potential that he might have been given
Overdose.
drugs by like the yes. What is wrong with you?
So many things. So many things. Because
And it
then
gets worse. It's not
oh,
even
it gets
it gets
so much
worse.
worse. He goes, she talks about like, oh, like how this could be like your husband, or like she doesn't want anything like this to happen to anybody else. And she's like, you don't want to see like somebody else like orphan like their kids, like my husband, like there's 5 kids at play here. Like this woman, yeah, they have 5 kids. So it's like she's like, I can't imagine how overwhelmed she is just dealing with the shock of it all, let alone the realities of what comes next. Um, because then, oh, it's so crazy. He goes on to be like,
No.
so like, what are you gonna do to support your 5 children? And she's
Oh
like,
my God.
and she li-
Ugh.
like Vince, like, I don't even know what day it is right now. Like, I don't like. She's like, I haven't like less than 24 hours. Less than 20. How are you gonna support your kid? How are you gonna support her kids? Like,
I thank you so
how
much.
are you gonna do it? He
Ew.
died on your watch. He performed the night before. He was staying in a hotel in that city because he was performing for you. And like you're being like, oh, like what are you gonna do to support your he died yesterday.
Mr.
Yesterday. You are
Honey.
so what kind of like gross, like evil, like behavior is like yesterday. And you're gonna drag this poor woman, like stressed out of her fucking mind, out here to like what? What was the purpose? Because
What was the reason?
it wasn't to set up the video package for Brian Pillman. It wasn't because
Honey.
the only question you should have asked her, you waited to ask last, and you didn't. And by the time you got to it, she was so fucking distraught she couldn't even give you an actual answer. Like it was how would you like Brian Pillman to be remembered? And like she goes on to just be like, oh, like to like talk about him kindly, great, but it's like that's the only question you should have fucking asked her. Like, how would you
Period.
like your husband to be remembered? Like, if you're gonna do all of this, like, at the very least, like, throw some respect on his name and
Yes. No,
be like
100%.
be like
100%.
thank you, like, and thank her for the time that she sacrificed away from her husband so that he could come and work for you. Like it's just
Honey.
this like it's just so deplorable the way that this was handled.
Horrible.
And it's so like it's just like it makes you feel disgusting. Like
Icky.
I want to shower because it's just like you really did that. Like you had
Mm-mm.
zero qualms about dragging this woman on national television and then berating her with the most insensitive questions that I've ever fucking heard in an interview. And like you're
Mm.
just like okay with that. That is like
Mm.
you're totally kosher with how that went. And yet you want to act like it's such a like inconvenience to you to like have to do these like to do the salute. Like you shut down Jerry earlier when he was talking about like Owen and Bret like coming out and wrestling after like their friend passed away. You like shut him down. It's like, oh, like we don't need to talk about that. I was like, are you kidding me? Why is that such a negative thing? Like
Mm-hmm.
that their friends are being commended for pushing through and coming to work when their friend died yesterday.
Yes.
Yesterday.
But it's like what they said about Vince in his little documentary where it was like he never looks to the past. He always looks ahead and it's because of things he cannot face. Like this was something he had to get through, not something he wanted to do for Brian.
Right.
It's so disturbing. It's like first of all, the close in zoom on her crying face. First of all, her husband died alone in a bed in a hotel room working for you.
Right.
He had a heart attack in his sleep alone. Like he literally died alone and had to be found by somebody because he didn't show up to work.
Right.
And she has to be at home and she already had to relinquish, like you said, so much time with him and like his time with their kids.
And mind you, one of the children is not even hers. She's a
Yeah,
stepmother because and then she goes on to just to talk about the fact that like the one child, Brittany, had like her mother had committed suicide 2 years prior, and then her father dies suddenly. Like, and she's a teenager. Like, these are real people
real
with real
life
reality,
emotions.
and like
Yes.
you're dragging this woman out to you're exploiting her. Like
Yes.
and
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 the
exploiting her so freshly. Like the
ugh,
wound could not be more fresh. Like
oh my God.
so
Salt and
crazy.
vinegar.
So
And
crazy.
the question of how are you going to support your five children? And she's saying, I don't know, I don't know, I don't even know what day it is. And then she says, like, well, the fans have been really supportive, blah, blah, blah. It's almost like it felt so sinister to me because it's almost like that implication of like, hopefully people will hear that and send you money because I'm not gonna. Like, it gave that implication of like, how are you gonna support your like pandering?
Right.
Because he's not going to send her shit. Like, that's what it felt like. Like,
No,
oh,
yeah.
don't forget to mention the fans have been good to you, so maybe they'll send you some donations because
Yeah. Right.
if no one's wrestling for me, you're
And at
not
one
getting a check. Like,
and she like said like briefly that like that in that like fans whatever she does mention like the company, but it's like I don't know. I she just seemed uncomfortable by the whole thing.
she said it like she was being held at gunpoint. She said,
Right.
like, oh, in the company's been great too. Like,
Right. And you're like,
it's
ugh,
just
it's
vile,
so off-putting.
horrible,
Yeah.
so disgusting, and like, just not what they should have asked her two questions. How are you holding up? We're so sorry for your loss. How like we're sending you the best for your family. How do you want Brian to be remembered? That's it.
And then go into the
If you're
video
gonna do it at
package.
all.
If
If you're gonna do it at all, which you shouldn't have even done, maybe in like a few weeks or something, but like you
right.
shouldn't have even done it in the first place. But if you are, we're so sorry. How are you doing? How are the children? We're
No.
sending you blah blah blah. How do you want Brian to be remembered? Go into the video package. I
No.
swear to
No,
God.
not let's like talk about like was he on drugs? Like are you kidding
Can
me?
you state clearly for the record that the WWE did not provide him with the drugs that caused his heart attack? Like that's basically what it was. It was like the fucking Inquisition. Like
Ugh.
oh my God. Like
I'm so disgusted. Like
so this poor woman. This
mm-hmm.
poor woman. I don't know if she agreed to it because she felt like she had to because she's literally in this like insane state of grief and she didn't even know what was happening. Like
Or maybe she
I
was
don't
trying I or they like sold it to her that like they were trying to like do something for like the his
night for
fans
Brian.
or like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like give him a moment, blah blah blah.
She was exploited though. You're so
No,
right.
fully. She
This
was
is
fully
not on
exploited.
her at
Like
all.
you do not do that to somebody. Like I don't care like it's just you just don't. Like you just that's just not how you behave to somebody who lost their husband 24 hours ago. It's just not what you do. It's not what you ask them. It's like in no scenario would any of those questions other than how would you like your husband to be remembered be appropriate to ask somebody whose
Mm-hmm.
husband died the day before. And it doesn't really matter how long. Like they're just not
Mm-mm.
appropriate questions to ask. Like, and
Mm-mm.
especially not on national television. Like, how are you going
Hell
to
no.
support your five kids? Like, okay, put her on
Again,
blast. The fuck? Like, she
you're
just
like, listen up, poor. Like, how are you gonna support those five little rugrats you got with that man? What are you talking about?
so crazy.
It
It's ugh, so
mm-mm.
gross.
No. No,
So
no, no, no.
then they hit us with what is a nice video package for Brian. Like it's like it's
Yes,
voiced over
yeah.
by like JR. Like I was like, you could have just done that. You could have just done that.
Yes, or just had JR handle it because honestly, I think he would have done a lot better than whatever the hell this was.
Right.
It felt like legalities. It felt literally like we are having her exonerate us for legal reasons.
Yeah.
And I just don't like I I don't know. It's just really very, very upsetting and very disturbing, and I don't understand. I just don't
Yeah.
understand.
And like, I don't know. Yeah, it's so in poor taste. But
Foul.
we're gonna move on from there, because the show goes on. But
Mm-mm.
g- yeah, not a good look for Vince or the WWF. Either way.
No. And
Um,
I mean, there's zero self-reflection. Like he never learns, like
no.
as we know. I
No,
mean,
and
just
this is a
no
direct result of
self-reflection.
the whole steroid trial and like him
Oh
not
yeah,
wanting to be like under like investigated again, like like it's a whole thing. But
foul.
yeah. So next we are supposed to have a tag team match between the Hardy Boys, love to see them, and the Truth Commission. But instead the Hardy Boys are chilling in the ring, like waiting for the Truth Commission to come on out. Lights go out. Kane's music. Love to see it.
That music is so good.
It's so
Turns
good.
me out.
I love it. I love it.
So good.
So Kane makes his entrance, comes down with Paul Bear, hits us with that pot, like that four corner pyro. Love to see it. Um, just absolutely bodies the Hardy Boys.
Poor
He
babies.
double choke slams them, throws Matt out of the ring, takes Jeff, lifts him high over his head, and yeets him as hard and far as he possibly could. The expression like I couldn't trust him as far as I could throw him is not applicable to Kane. Because he
No,
can
he can
throw
throw him
men
so far.
far, so
He uses
far.
that as like a term of saying, I trust you so much. I trust you as far as I could throw you, and that's really
No,
far. Like
yeah,
he
for
uses it in the reverse sense.
no, exactly. Like and the only one who can because
And amen.
the force at which Jeff landed on his brother, so
The
crazy.
velocity.
So crazy.
So smack
Hmm.
crazy.
Love to see the Hardy Boys trickling their way into the
I know.
WWF. Very,
This
very
is exactly what I'm
exciting.
talking about. The tag team energy we need. I want to
Hmm.
see the Hardy Boys. I'm
Yeah.
there. They'll be my next goalpost because we have Kane. I'll start
Hmm.
manifesting the Hardy Boys. I
Heard,
love to
heard,
see
heard. Love
Kane in
that.
action though.
So yeah, I think it's like late 98, when they like become the Hardy Boys, I think. But
Her
we'll see what comes. And then yeah, Paul hits us with basically like an intro to Kane. Hits us with the like, I did what I had to do. I was like, the Undertaker was not gonna listen to me. He didn't want me
He's
no
so
more.
crazy.
And he's like, I tried to go back. He's like, I did. He's like, he beat me. He burned me. Like neglecting to mention that he did all of these things first via
Hey, so thank
his
you.
his many operatives, but it's fine. Um,
You first. You did it first, and then he's like, and then the Undertaker wouldn't take me back. Because what you
no,
did was unforgivable, you loser. Like,
yeah,
it just
you
really made me mad.
no, fully playing the victim.
Oof.
And then he goes on to talk about last night and the debut of Kane. He's like, "We all saw your face, Undertaker. We know that this is legit because of the look on your face. You told us
Woo.
exactly everything that we needed to know, that I wasn't lying. This is your brother." And basically he's like he goes on to say, which is a great line, this is the stop sign on your highway to eternity. Basically just being like,
Mm.
I know you got big plans, stealing souls, all that good shit, but you're gonna pay attention to this, and
You
you're
have
gonna
to pay the toll.
yeah, literally. So, and then he goes on to say, "We are going to destroy every wrestler one by one until we get to you," and I
Ooh.
love to see that. That's weird and scary.
Oh
That
my, Kane scares me so bad.
and
Two
they were
things.
zooming
One,
in like so close on the mask. Oh, it was so good. I loved it.
oh my God. One, Paul is growing this nasty little mustache. And normally I love a
Oh,
mustache, actually, contrary to popular belief. I love a mustache.
right.
But that nasty little mustache, that's disgusting. Shave that.
Shave it.
Two, Kane scares the daylights out of me. And it's funny because again, I've said this before, so many people talk about how the Undertaker's when they were kids, he was so scary, like terrifying to them. And for me, like because I'm older and I know the Undertaker is a person now, like the
Mm,
illusion was kind of lost on me. Kane, he really scares me. Like he's
yeah.
so scary. Like the zoom in on that ice blue eye, like he is like oh my God, the things from Game of Thrones. Why am I blanking? The White Walkers.
Yeah.
Like so and he's just staying there and he's like a like just vicious. Like I don't know. Like he just
Hmm.
is scary. I love the mask. Like I love how it's I don't whoever designs this stuff is like I just love people who can make beautiful things like this. Like I
Hmm.
just because the specific ridges in it
Hmm.
are so good to make him look angry without like painting it. Like
Right.
because it's painted with the red and the slashes
Like
and
the
then there's
flame,
like
yeah.
specific like indents to make him look
Yeah, it's
like
the way the mask is like
it's
formed. It makes him look
yes.
more intimidating.
Oh my
It really
God.
pronounces the thing that make you look like scary or like it
Yes.
base any light that would be accentuated by holding a flashlight under your nose and telling like a scary story is essentially what's
Yes.
accentuated on that mask. Um
Oh, yes,
like your
that's
big
such a good
eyebrows, your
point.
big nose, like yeah. So like
The cheeks.
mhm,
Yeah. And like this little slit for a mouth, like he's Hannibal
right.
Lecter. Like,
He doesn't
oh
speak
my
at
God.
first, like for a long time. No speaking.
Love that. I
So
mean, this is so fierce. I love
mhm,
this more than I could possibly say. I'm so excited we're here. And like, I'm really, ooh,
I
I just
love
love
it.
this. And the back half of Paul Bear's promo was fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
really, really, really good.
Yeah,
I
he
will give
goes,
him that.
yeah, no,
Fantastic.
he finishes out, he's like, we will always be right behind you. And he's like, and then right before Kane's music comes back on, he goes, welcome to your worst nightmare. Boom. Like,
Bomb.
yeah, it
Oh
was
my
so good.
God.
So
So
good.
good. Because I believe him.
Yeah.
I believe him. This feels like the worst thing that could have happened to the
And
under.
I
Like
fully believe that like they will run through everybody. Like
everyone.
they
It'll be a boneyard.
not only are they like capable, they are willing. Like they are going to do it. And like
They
I
have the
believe it.
reason. Yes, they have the reason. They have the strength. And Undertaker's gonna have to reap the very souls that Kane is crushing on his way to him.
Right.
Crazy.
Love it.
So good. And also someone
Love
had a
it.
sign, they spelled Kane wrong, but it said Kane, like Kane rises again or something. Like these
Hmm.
kids in the audience had it so fierce. But
Love that.
this is so good. I just love this. Can't say enough good things.
There's a lot of great storytelling to come on this one. So stay tuned. Uh We've only just seen the beginning of Kane.
Oh,
So that takes us into our main event between Triple H, who is now officially going by Triple H,
love
with China and taking on the WWF champion, Bret Hart. This is the only actual match in the
that.
entire of any length or note as far as anything that happened in the ring.
So
Um,
true.
so true. The commentators make a point of saying that Triple H is acting like a teenager, and then Jerry just goes a jerk, and you're like, yep, yep, very much so.
Yep.
Of course, Shawn Michaels makes his way down, because he can't help but mess with Bret Hart. It's his These are a few of my favorite things. Messing with Bret Hart is definitely one of them. He comes down and he starts picking his nose with the Canadian flag. Why not? Why?
Who?
Why not just add insult to injury?
How would you even think of that? I would. He like shoves it up his nose as if he has a nosebleed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he's just like
Yep. Leaving it there.
so silly.
Of course, that prompts all of the Hart Foundation to come down. The Bulldog, Owen, and Neidhart. They make their presence known. I saw a sign that says, "Where is Yokozuna?" And yeah, so we know
Ooh,
what
we
happened during
know.
this time. He
Yes.
was given many opportunities to do something about his weight because it was affecting his ability to wrestle. Chose
Mm.
not to do so. Ends up getting released during this time. and we kind of know the rest of the story from there. If you don't know, we have an
Such a
After Dark
shame.
episode about it. You can go back and look at the life and times of Yokozuna. So, but I just
Beautiful
thought it was
man.
interesting that there was a sign that like some people are missing him,
I mean,
and
I loved him. I
yeah,
mean, especially after we watched his documentary, I was like, oh my God.
right,
And also loved him so much, nothing ever made me hate Hulk Hogan more, and I already didn't like him.
right, right,
That was horrible.
right. Nope, you're not wrong. But the match continues. At one point, Bret has Triple H in a sharpshooter. Chyna, of course, comes in to save her man's. She comes in with the rope, make sure that Hunter can get his hand on it. Um, this prompts some skirmishing on the outside. Chyna runs up and starts. She wails on Bret first. She goes for another one. He like grabs her hand. Is like, are you for real right now? Like, are you for serious?
Hmm.
And then he turns around and gets super kicked in the face by Shawn Michaels, which prompts the referee to start counting. Because he was on the other side dealing with the Hart Foundation, so he didn't see it. So
Hmm.
the result of this match is Triple H wins by a count out, which we haven't seen really too much.
In a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Crazy.
that's where they leave us on this one. The fallout
Wild
of Bad
times.
Blood was wild.
I know.
Was
I want to
wild.
see. We didn't get to see any of Vader and the Patriot. I'm not complaining about not seeing the Patriot,
Right, right,
but
right.
again, we're already things are already back in motion. It's always
On
running
to
at
the
100,
next. Yeah, no,
like
fully.
crazy.
On to the next, on to the next. Um, uh, Thank you guys. This has been another episode of the New to Wrestling podcast. Thank you for listening wherever you find us. Of course, this is our end of episode plea to vote for us for the best wrestling podcast via the Sports Podcast Awards. The link will be in the description below. Thank you. Also, thank you guys for commenting a lot more recently. I've been
Yes.
interacting with some of you guys and trying to stay on top of it. Um, Forgive me if I haven't been super on top of it. It is the holidays. But thank you,
Oh,
thank you. Love to see it. Love to see what you're excited about. And all that jazz. Yes, Kelsey.
yes. I want to know because there was someone on Twitter who mentioned that there was something on here that we were going to rant, this episode specifically, that we were going to rant a lot about. I want to know what it was, if it was Melanie or if it was Jim Cornette.
I think
I'm
it was
assuming
Melanie.
Melanie. I'm assuming Melanie, but sound off, what was it? And
Yeah,
did we rant enough? I'm so curious.
no, yeah, fully. Do you feel satiated by the rants?
Yeah,
Um,
because I literally we saw that Xavier read to me and I was like, we gotta caffeinate up because if we're ranting about something, I want to be prepared.
no, absolutely fully, but definitely the highlights on this one was Jim Cornette. Because
Woo!
that was
MVP.
that I wigs flown. I That was crazy.
There's a meme. I'm sorry, and then I swear we'll be done. But there's a meme of like LOL, Snooki on the phone for Jersey Shore, and someone edited like, oh, can I? Someone's like, oh, can I speak to? She's like calling someone and goes, oh, can I speak to? And they put my wig, and the
Mm.
response is, sorry, she died.
Sorry, she died.
She
That's
died, and that's me after gym. Fierce.
Oh, I love that. That was insane. Yeah, so there was lots of highs, a real low, but
Woo!
this was another episode of the New Wrestling Podcast. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.
We'll see you there.
Bye.
Bye.